My name is Rachel Bixel, and my presentation will be on PHP variables. So to start off, what is a PHP variable? A PHP, excuse me, a PHP variable they are containers for storing information. So I love this picture because you have your variable, which is the container, and then you can put any value that you'd like to put in there. For example, a number, or you could even put a string or saying that, hi, hello world. So you can do that, and then you can use that container as many times as you would like in your code. So that ties along with why do we use variables. Variables make our lives a lot easier as coders, and it also makes our lives a lot more flexible. We can do a lot more and be a lot more flexible with our code. So for an example, let's use pi. As we all know, pi is a very long number, but for this example, I only used a portion of pi. So in this example, I have a longer mathematical equation, and I've used pi 4 times in that equation. As you can kind of see, as I keep using pi, it can be a little cumbersome. I also could make an error if I don't copy and paste, or maybe I copy and paste and actually delete something. So there's a little more room for error. But when we actually use a variable, as you see here, you see it looks a lot better and it's a lot simpler. What's also nice is you can change that number later on, which I'll go on about a little later. So there's a couple rules we have for writing a variable for it to work properly in the PHP. So first off, you need to start with a $sign. So in this language, we don't use var, just a $sign, and you follow it by the name of the variable. Don't have any spaces or anything like that, but you can have an underscore. So the variable must start with a letter, or like I said, an underscore character. It cannot start with a number. Also, a variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscores. So that's A through Z, 0 through 9, and the underscore. So don't start your variable name with the exclamation mark or the %sign or any other characters like that. Also very important, variable names are case sensitive. For example, let's say you have a variable name of gender, but in your coding you do a capital G. Your code won't work, you'll get an error. So with any PHP code, you need to have the variable within the lesson sign, question mark, PHP, then you have your code, then you end it with the question mark, and then the greater sign. And when you are writing your variable, each line, for example, you write your variable like $x equals pi, that number, and you need to end it with a semicolon. So let's look at some examples of this. So here's my example that I was talking about earlier. I created a variable name of $x, and then I have pi. Then I did another variable, and for this variable, I started with the underscore, which is valid, and then I also added a 1 at the end, which is also valid, or you could have it in the middle as well, but not starting. And then I have that same math equation, and as you see, I put in my variable within it. And then to put that onto the browser to display it, I used echo, and then I declared my variable just had right there. So let's test that out and make sure it works. All right, here you go, and there it gives me the correct answer. And like I said earlier, what if I didn't want to use pi anymore? What if I wanted to go in there and use a different? So it's so simple with variables. So I would just delete it just right here. And I could put a random number and save it. And then we'll run that again. And as you see, the number is different. All right, so now I'm going to give an example of using a string, because you can use a string. So now I have this. I have my variable number, my variable name, and then I have a website. So if I wanted to, let's say, insert the name of a website into a paragraph, I could do that using a variable. So let's run this code. All right, so I actually had some errors in my code on purpose. I'm just putting the point home for you guys. So, a couple errors here. I did not have a semicolon, and if you see here, I had a uppercase website rather than my lowercase website, which I originally wrote. As you see, it does not work. So be mindful of that, because that will cause you a lot of grief. It might take you a while to find that error out for you. So we'll run that real fast, make sure it worked. And there you go. So as you can see, you can use a lot of variables. You can make pretty complicated things. You can add variables to display, or for example, if you wanted to, if someone's on a website, they input their name and you wanted to output their name and you had like a paragraph that had their name a couple times, you could use a variable. There's a lot of ways. Variables are an amazing tool. And that is my presentation. Here's my reference that I used for this presentation. If you have any questions, just put them down in the comments below. Thank you.